make I'll off at your
Welcome to episode 2 of The Thinking Space. I've been thinking about something that happened a few days ago. It was nothing mind-blowing. And if I'd looked at my phone for 5 seconds or longer, I'd probably have missed it altogether. I was standing in a supermarket queue. Someone in front of me was buying flowers. Behind me, a mother tried to control her little toddler who was fascinated by the movement of a conveyor belt. The cashier was frantically scanning goods, and the scanner beeped in response. It was a perfectly ordinary moment. One that passes without giving us another thought. At the end of the checkout, there was an elderly gentleman. He wasn't moving quickly. He packed each item into his shopping bag slowly, as though he had no reason in the world to hurry at all. The young woman serving him was unfazed by this. In fact, she apologised. The old man had been waiting for some time to get to this point. "I'm sorry," she said. "It's been one of those days." The man looked up. He smiled. Not the kind of polite smile that we give people and strangers in social situations. It was a real smile. One that connected. He said, "What time do you finish?" And she replied, "Just another couple of hours." He nodded. He put another tin of soup into his bag and then looked back up at the young woman and said, "Well, I hope you get your feet up when you get home and someone makes you a nice cup of tea." That was all. She laughed. A laugh that seemed to ease the weight of the day. "Oh, wouldn't that be nice?" she said. The man finished packing, paid for his shopping, and said, "Have a lovely day. Take care." He picked up his shopping and walked away. And that was it. The queue kept moving. The girl kept scanning. Everyone paid, everyone went home, and nothing about the world had changed. And yet, that wee conversation has been on my mind almost every day since. I'm not sure why. There was nothing special about it. Or maybe there was. In all likelihood, they've both forgotten it even happened. So why do I keep thinking about it? I think it's because, for just a few seconds, I witnessed something we don't seem to notice often enough. One human being making another human being's day just a little bit lighter. There was no great wisdom in that interaction, no advice given, no problem solved or fixed. Just one person noticing another. And so, with today's quote and question in mind, it made me wonder. We spend an awful lot of our lives talking about happiness. We spend years searching for it, trying to protect it, trying to hold on to it. We tell ourselves again and again that we'll be happy when something happens. When we retire, when we have more money, when we lose weight or meet the right person. We base our happiness on life settling down. But standing there in that queue and witnessing that tiny exchange made me really consider whether we've misunderstood happiness altogether. Whether we've been looking for it in the wrong places or expecting it to look like something it was never meant to be. There's a sentence I've heard often. Happiness is a choice. I've never really been sure what to do with that sentence. Part of me agrees, and another part doesn't. Because I can think of people whose lives have changed in an instant. Grief, illness, loss. I don't think I could ever look them in the eye and tell them to choose happiness. So, thinking about that question I'm asking today, maybe we rephrase things. If happiness isn't something we choose, then what is it? And that's what's led me to write today's Thinking Space broadcast. I've been trying to remember the happiest moments of my life. Not necessarily the biggest moments, but the happiest. And in trying to remember and recall these moments, something surprising came up. Most of them were never planned. Not one single happy moment in my life arrived because I'd finally reached a goal that I had been chasing. The happiest moments in life seem to occur when we're busy paying attention to something else. I've said before, these special moments don't announce themselves when they enter our experience. Which makes me wonder, have we as humans become so busy looking for happiness that we keep overlooking it when it actually does happen? I think we're taught and programmed, even if no one ever says it out loud, that happiness is something we earn. You have to work hard and achieve and become successful enough, and then when you finally do that, you'll be happy. As though it's a prize, a trophy that we get at the end of a long race. What if happiness was a spectator at that race, watching us run frantically towards nothing, begging us to stop rushing? And there's another thing that's puzzled me. Think about kids. I watch my toddler in the garden or on a beach or jumping in a puddle. It takes almost nothing for a child to become completely absorbed and present in the moment. They don't seem particularly interested in whether this is the happiest day of their life. They're just experiencing it, completely there. And somewhere along our life journey, we seem to lose that. We become a kind of accountant in our own life, constantly measuring and taking stock and comparing and calculating. Am I where I should be? Have I done enough? Why does everyone else seem further ahead and happier than me? It's exhausting. And make no mistake, it's not life that's asking those questions of us, it's ourselves. It's society. It's the way we're conditioned. I've caught myself doing it. Driving along or walking somewhere, can't even remember where, but I find myself thinking, oh, I can't wait to relax once this week's over. Then I have to laugh at myself. I mean, it's not funny, but I've heard myself say that so many times. The week before, the month before that. And I'm always reminding myself that if I'm not careful, I might end up spending my whole life living in next week, waiting for things to settle and begin, waiting for something to give me permission to enjoy the life that I'm already living. It's a great trick. Our mind convinces us that peace and happiness and well-being live somewhere else. Somewhere over the rainbow or beyond the horizon. It's always the next thing and never this thing. I wonder if you've noticed this too. Life kind of refuses to stay still. One problem disappears and the next one introduces itself. Emails, texts, and notifications don't ever stop. The chores always need done. Children grow. Parents get older, and our plans and bodies and minds change. Just like the weather changes, everything keeps moving. Given that's the case, if happiness depends on life finally becoming uncomplicated and in some way still, I think we're all going to be waiting for a very, very long time. Maybe that's why the old guy in the supermarket has stayed with me. Because he wasn't waiting for anything. He was living in the moment he'd been given. And he chose, using his freedom to do so, to notice another human being standing in front of him. And for that 30 seconds, that was enough. He'd made someone smile and relax their shoulders. And I'm pretty sure other people in the queue smiled too. And he reminded us, perhaps, of something we've all forgotten. That life and happiness and connection and joy happens in the most ordinary moments. It happens in places like supermarket queues. The kind of places we usually rush through to get on to the next task on our way to somewhere we imagine matters more. So is that where we've gone wrong? Are we spending too much time asking, am I happy? Rather than, am I paying attention? Because the more I think about it, the more those two questions become connected. And I'm beginning to understand, as I hope you are too, that paying attention opens the doorway for happiness to come in. Have you ever looked back over a year of your life and thought, that was a good year because I was happy all the time? I don't think anybody does. When people tell stories about the best years of their lives, it's never void of difficulty. The years they describe meant something. Think about parents with a newborn baby, something I've just recently experienced. The lack of sleep, the exhaustion, not knowing what day it is, living on cold cups of tea and no rest. Now, if you had stopped me in the midst of one of those days and asked me, are you happy? I don't know what I'd say. I suspect the answer would be no. But ask that same parent 20 years later about those same nights. The answer might have been yes. Because those moments mattered. And the same is true for so many different things. Caring for your loved one. Training for some difficult feat. Falling in love, losing someone you love. None of that fits into the category of happiness while we're there living it, and yet, would you erase them? I don't think you would. Because beneath all of the tiredness, the uncertainty and the fear, there was meaning, depth and experience. Maybe that's what's been confusing us all. Perhaps happiness and meaning aren't the same thing. Happiness comes and goes, but meaning is always there, if only we'd pay attention to it. I've always liked that old saying that fish are the last creatures to discover water. Because it's everywhere. And I've wondered if that's true of our life as well. We become so familiar with it that we stop seeing it. The kettle boiling, the dog waiting by the door for his walk, the message from a long-time friend, the smell of fresh coffee. Someone saying bye as they leave the house. Or I'm home as they come back. Little things. So I don't know the name of that man that was in the supermarket. I don't know where he went when he left. I don't know whether somebody made him a cup of tea when he got home. What I do know is that he changed my week. He changed my week because he reminded me that a good life is built from moments that nobody else notices. Sharing a real smile that connects, a quick conversation, a kind word, or even a shared silence. When I began this, I thought the question I was asking was, is happiness a choice? And I don't think that's a question that we can ever answer in the space of time that we have. But I think we've uncovered a better question. Maybe instead of asking yourself, am I happy? You could ask yourself, what made today meaningful? I don't know how similar those questions are. I don't even know if they'd lead you to the same place. But one question keeps us chasing a feeling. And the other question invites us to notice life. Happiness isn't the finish line. It's perhaps not even a destination at all. I think happiness is something that presents itself to us when we stop treating today as a waiting room for tomorrow. So I'll leave you with this. It's not a conclusion on today's discussion, but an invitation to carry something with you. For the rest of today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, there will almost certainly be another moment. A moment that you would usually rush through. And I invite you, before you do rush, to just pause. Just for a second. Just take a moment to look around and notice who's with you and what's already there. Maybe that awareness, that openness to the present moment will spark a feeling of happiness within you. Thanks for joining me again in the thinking space. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope when you get home you get to put your feet up and someone makes you a nice cup of tea. And if that's not the case, maybe you'll have the opportunity to do that for someone else. Because you never know just how much a small kindness can stay with someone. So until the next broadcast, thank you for spending a little time with me in the thinking space. Take care.